Hello everyone and welcome to EGFH Connecticut Season 2 Finals for Overwatch. Today we're live with games from UConn. We have a best of 5 between the Notre Green Knights and the Kaynor Panthers. I of course want to thank our sponsors, the UConn Gaming Club, the UConn School of Engineering, the New York Excelsiors, and Mob Crush for making this season possible. My name is Kevin Naverick Dignan and I'm joined for this series by Cool J. And
well,
to get into... Oh, sorry, go on.
We're gonna get in this game very soon, and of course, map selection will be pick and ban format, with the map types being as follows. We'll do escort first, then we'll move on to the famous 2CP control point. We'll head over to assault, hybrid, and then finally another escort map if we need it. That is. The maps we'll be playing today are Gibraltar, Busan, Hanamura, Numbani, and Route 66.
Yeah, and that's a good map selection. Gibraltar is very enjoyable map to see, and Ash is of course available. So we're going to be hearing some Bobs doing some things.
Well, I mean, we'll see if he actually does something. I am interested to see some Ash gameplay, but so far coming out here on Gibraltar, we're gonna see Notre Dame setting up on the defense. And they're looking at a brig setup with triple support. This looks pretty interesting, especially with Pharmacy as the only DPS. What do you think?
Yeah, well, Pharmacy being... Yeah, no, that's interesting actually being the only DPS there. But of course, that is a Goatsy combo playing against actual Goats. And that's going to be, again, we see Goats every single week in borderline every single match. And they're just going to be staying grouped up. They want to be staying in a position where if one person tries to push into them, they can all just jump onto them and instantly deal with the problem. So Pharmacy is the perfect counter along with Ash to deal with it, right? Because Pharmacy isn't going to get close. She's not going to set up in a position where she can get jumped on.
But of course, yeah, and we see it right here. They're just going to spam rockets all the way down into them. And of course, they're going to pick up a few kills, trying to avoid that engagement there, like you said, until they can find an advantage. And then they're just going to...
Yeah, they're just going to roll with it. And if we look at the ult economy, Aspire already has their rocket barrage. So in another case where this happens, where they're all going to push down, Aspire's going to get damage boosted, and then it's just going to rocket barrage behind all of them, which I said is about to happen right now. There you go. So there goes Andrew's mech. Andrew does fall immediately as well. We see Arkham Knight also falling, so no Lucian healing coming out. The charge coming out, managing to get the pin onto, I believe that was Nova, but does manage to get bubbled by Eclipse. We're going to see Jeff Woods trying to get away, and he is going to be able to get away. But if we look at the ult economy again, like, just look at the ults on the side of the Green Knights at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you called it perfectly. Kaynor, especially as you mentioned, struggling on the ult economy right now, but they went right through with that barrage, and it was pretty close. Jeff Woods pulling out the coalescence there, but unable to swing the advantage back, and Kaynor going to come in for another push now. We'll see if they can do anything with the few amount of ults they have.
Yeah, the Graviton coming out here, that you're going to be able to hear the Earthshatter coming out, along with the rally coming from, I believe that was Riftsy as well. Aspire up to 82% on the next rocket barrage, and we're going to see the Kaynor Panthers there managing to start to get some of their ult economy, but they were completely forced out of that fight for the cost of 3 ultimates, or 4 ultimates, I believe, on the side of the Green Knights. So I feel, I don't know about you.
Right there, we saw, like, a pretty classic tactic in the competitive scene. We saw a dry push coming out from Kaynor, and it works perfectly. As you can see, they're coming into this fight. 4 ultimates, 2 more on the way, and only 1 on the side of Notre Dame. So they just need to get the execution here, but Aspire coming down with that barrage, able to find 1, Andrew answering right back, and this is the advantage Kaynor was looking for. They're going to try and push it.
Yeah, they're going to be able to push it fairly successfully as well. Monk looking for the res, but isn't going to be able to find it, so that leaves Dunless by himself, trying to fight off Mr. McDouble's Brigette. Not going to be able to, is he? Oh, Spaghetti tries to keep him healed up there. Did for as long as they could, but Eclipse and Andrew are going to be able to find the picks, and you're going to see that first check being hit by the Panthers.
And I love the ult economy management here by Kaynor as they look to try and stagger these spawns. They did use 3 ults there, but they made sure to save the 2 support ults. They saved the Shatter as well, and that should be more than enough for them to win this next fight. And of course, because Notre Dame used so many a few fights ago, they're still down low, as we see an Earth Shatter coming out from Nova, and a Graviton as well. Notre Dame really trying to win this fight here and now. Coalescence from both sides, and it's just particle effects everywhere.
Yeah, the counter Graviton coming out there from the side of the Panthers is going to be able to win them the fight as it manages to catch out 5 of the Green Knight players. Aspire on that Doomfist, trying to look for a flank, trying to get a pick up onto the supports, but that was also unsuccessful. As you hear the announcer, that was in fact a team kill, and they should be able to get the second point borderline for free. Nobody's going to be able to get back in time.
Yeah, we see Aspire switching back to the Pharah, unable to quite get the value they were looking for in the Doomfist, as Kaynor Tech basically pushed with no issues whatsoever. Here comes another shatter from Nova, yet again not connecting. Dunless playing well in this Ryan v Ryan battle, but the Apocalypse from last fight means both teams are kind of low. We're going to be coming in with a rally from the side of Kaynor Tech. They know that Notre Dame doesn't have a lot, but so far just damage on both sides, no kills yet.
Yeah, no, like you were saying, damage on both sides, and on the ult economy, or even just looking at who's on fire at the moment. On the side of the Panthers, the only person that isn't on fire is Nova. The barrage coming out from the spine there is going to be eaten up mostly by Andrew. Managing to find Eclipse is going to be very important, with Nova Wheels being able to protect them from that bursty damage that could come out. We see the Coalescence on Jeff Woods being ready, and we do see Sound Barrier about to come back up on Arkham Knight.
Yeah, and we see Spaghetti going to go ahead and stagger himself, but they're so close to the finish here, they're going to need to push out soon. They might have to do it with just 5. And you see just Kaynor Tech is relentless with this Goats right here. The Graviton actually getting eaten there. A great play by Andrew on the Diva play. Coalescence again from both sides, and we're going to see an Apocalypse once again. Yeah,
we see Andrew popping that, popping the self-destruct there as the Graviton does come out from Eclipse, trying to deal with Dunless. Rift Z, Monk, and Aspire all trying to do what they can to stay alive behind their front line. Spaghetti giving them a good amount of healing here, but if they're just not going to be able to find the damage in time, then this might be the end. Managing to find a Mr. McDouble there is going to be so crucial to this fight.
Yeah, and the spawns at this point are so overwhelmingly in favor of the defense. If Notre Dame was able to get any kind of clean engagement out of the spawn door, which they were, it's pretty much a guaranteed one fight. They still have 2 minutes left for Kaynor Tech though, so we'll see what they come in with next.
Yeah, being able to slowly push that payload back, every inch counts, right? Because it's longer for them to try and get it to the point, it gives them more time, and a little bit more space to make a couple minor errors or minor mistakes that delay them by half a second. But we're going to see Mr. McDouble jumping onto memory pretty much immediately, as I believe that Graviton Surge was also eaten. Both of these
Andrew playing really well on this Diva as the self-destruct comes out from Aspire, unable to find much of anything. We see Rally coming out, and the big shadow from Nova finds 3, maybe 4. Aspire going to get popped out of the mech as well. And that could be all but over for Notre Dame defense as the gong rings out and the round comes to a finish.
1 minute 35 seconds left on the clock. Andrew definitely won them a lot of the fights there purely off eating memories, Gravitons.
Yeah, because, I mean, just based off of their placement going into that fight, Notre Dame was really hoping to get a lot of value out of that Graviton in that last decisive fight there. And Andrew just eating the Grav to open it off, basically taking away any advantage they would have had in the fight. And now they've made this aggressive push and they have nothing to show.
They don't have anything at all. And like we were saying at the start, they held that really, really well for, I'd say, the first 2 minutes, but then just let it slip out of their grasp for a multitude of reasons. That being possibly Aspire getting off of that Pharah and switching to the Doomfist, which I don't know if it was the correct call in the situation. Or just purely Andrew eating those Gravitons, like we were saying.
Yeah, it is a bit questionable, but generally in the inside, when there's not as much space, I mean, it's already difficult to deal with a Diva as a Pharah player, but especially inside this hangar area, I personally, as a flex DPS player, always prefer to play Doomfist in here. So I can't really fault him for making that switch. I just think the snowball might have been too much for them to overcome. But their defense that they're setting up here, this is not Goats. What is this? Is this dive?
I think this just feels like a bit of a standard old school, like the few season ago setup.
I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, no, I'm always a fan of seeing not Goats.
They are going to be pushing onto the payload here, and of course they're going to use that same Pharah setup to try and get as much damage as possible. And wow, working out.
Yeah, but Jeff Woods, of course, on that soldier. Oh, sorry, I am looking at the wrong team. Aspire on the Ashe is going to have to be the one to try and deal with this Farm Mercy combo. She's extremely potent at swatting Mercies out of the air with her, with Viper, her rifle. Well, I just completely blanked. And looking at the ult economy right now, we see Bob at 30%, and we also see Barrage at 55% on Eclipse's side. So again, we might see Eclipse managing to get a bit of damage in here. In fact, I bet on Eclipse being able to get Barrage here and using it within this fight. But as I say that,
but Aspire takes Eclipse down. As you mentioned, they will have Barrage when they come back. Arkham Knight may be able to get the res off, but looks like they're going to try and retreat here and take an engagement at the second point.
Yeah, they're going to be waiting for it to come around this corner and jump on it last minute, giving Eclipse just enough time to get back. And as Eclipse gets back, you see Andrew jumping in. Nova also being there with the bubble. Eclipse is going to be looking the best, looking to be able to get into a flanking position as best he can. You see the Nano coming out. He's going to be able to pull that Barrage. Spaghetti's going to be able to pull to it. Monk's going to pull to it. Bob's going to get caught out into it. And the pin coming out, trying to get away there. Andrew is going to be able to clear it up. Nova jumping onto Aspire. And that's practically a team kill.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it was shown on stream, but a fantastic team play right there. Nova on the Winston, you saw it in the kill feed. He did take down Aspire, but right as they were trying to set up that barrage, Nova just jumps right into that hangar. He saw that Aspire was by himself on that Ashe and basically kept him from being able to do anything about that barrage play. They ended up working out for them as they won that fight.
Yeah, I mean, both teams at the moment have been playing that Farm Mercy combo at that first choke extremely well. Eclipse switching over to Genji, a bit like Aspire switching over to Doomfist, so we should see if this plays out a bit better for them. Of course, both characters being extremely mobile, looking to try and deal as much damage as they can in a very short span of time. But nobody can test the point. But you see that the self-destruct coming off there from Andrew, not going to be able to find anybody due to Spaghetti popping that sound barrier, giving all of his team so much shielding, managing just to tank it all out.
Well, the Diva Bomb, as you mentioned, did come out, and Ashe was trying to set up in the server room again. They dove in on her, but they just didn't stay and finish the job. Jeff Woods up top with the visor. He's going to try and turn things around, but there comes the Bob ult again, and Nano as well, and the rally, and a lot of kills turning.
An interesting choice coming out from Monk there, deciding not to wait for Aspire to use Bob and then nano boosting Bob for the raw damage that he can output.
Yeah, and we actually saw possibly a fatal mistake unless McDouble does switch, but kind of a panic use of the nano at the end of that fight there before they switched off here. So they are going to stay with Jeff Woods on the soldier. Nope. Never mind. Gonna have the Moira coming into this fight, but the ult economy, of course, in favor of Notre Dame after this big switch coming in from Kaynor Tech. So they're just gonna try and push into him and see what they can do with this brawl.
Yeah, and this little skirmish is going to matter quite a bit as we do hear a Graviton coming out from memory. They're going to be able to actually find nobody. Fantastic healing from the side of the Panthers. They managed to keep everybody alive as Mr. McDouble does fall.
But Dunless with a huge shatter, as you mentioned. And man, that fight was over fast.
Yeah, no, they managed to clear that out extremely well right there. The Green Knights working that fairly well. Bob possibly a bit of an overkill, but it does work. Managed to catch, if they manage to catch anybody out here though, that's going to be absolutely huge for them. And Nova does fall.
They did manage to pick Nova, but didn't find anyone else. As you mentioned, they did use that Bob ult from Aspire, and Kaynor Tech has shown so far that their ult management is superior to Notre Dame. We're seeing it again, but Notre Dame still having a little bit of an ult advantage going into this fight.
Yeah, that fight is that fight's ult economy right now is looking in favor of the Notre Dame here. As we get both Gravitons being popped. This is an actual both of the rallies being popped here, both of the Gravitons popped here. A huge anti coming out from Monk.
Ooh, and Andrew with a great angle on that Diva Bomb, finding both Lucio and Brig. And that's exactly the opening Kaynor Tech needed. They're going to find 2 more kills in quick succession, and Notre Dame just going to have to retreat.
Yeah, the Panthers are going to push all the way there, just clearing through them, resetting them completely. Andrew with that absolutely huge play.
Yeah, and we're going to see Kaynor Tech setting up in a sneaky spot here. they don't have a lot of ults to use, so I imagine they're going to come out with a sound barrier and try and go after him. But of course, Notre Dame, you can see they know what they're up to. There goes the sound barrier as I expected, and we'll see they're going to try and brawl it out.
Yeah, Aspire looking to try and find something there, trying to deal with Eclipse as he is in that backline. They're completely caught out. If he manages to survive here, his healers are doing something extremely well. Dunless looking to try and protect him, but again, the Panthers are just going to be able to clear through it.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Yeah, and we see once again Kaynor Tech finding the. I mean, I know their practices must be just crazy because they got to just be practicing all kinds of weird strats for what to do when they're down on ults. Hiding right there with the sound barrier was just such a smart play. And it looks like Andrew again going to be playing on this high ground. They're expecting the grab from Emery, but it doesn't come out. Shatter and grab both coming out from Kaynor Tech. And again, kills starting to turn red.
And again, although they use both of their CC ultimates right there, managing to clear it out and wasting more time. Right now, all they're doing is putting time into their time bank effectively, right? Because they've done it, right? They've
already won these first 2 rounds based on the time.
Exactly, right? So all they're doing right now is giving themselves an advantage instead of being at a disadvantage on the time bank. So if they manage to get it to overtime, which I have full faith that they do, with Andrew managing to get another ult coming off there, getting it into the corner, managing to hit Spaghetti, which is going to be huge. Nova finding Dunless, so that's going to be no shields for the Green Knights coming in at the moment. We see Aspire switching off of the Ash onto the Doomfist. I guess that happened at the start of last fight. But again, the Panthers are just going to be able to push them back to their spawn point.
But I really do love these disengages from Notre Dame. I mean, they are a bit undisciplined as we see Doomfist almost getting caught out outside of spawn. But look at the ult charge from Kaynor Tech. They didn't give Kaynor much of any ults after they knew that fight was lost. But this could be their last fight aside from just staggering with only 30 seconds.
Coming into this fight here, we're going to see pick after pick. With Aspire managing to find Mr. Big Double, that's going to be no chance of a rally and none of those irritating shield mashes coming out from the Brigida. But again, no matter what, there's only 10 seconds left in their time bank, right? That doesn't change. As Rifty looks to get the stun onto Andrew, manages to get it, doing a lot of damage here. We are going to see Andrew possibly lose their mech, but no, they're going to be able to get coverage, healing a huge Earth Shadow coming out, followed up by a Graviton from Eclipse there. They might be able to close it out here, and the Panthers might be able to retake this point.
Yeah, Andrew finding yet another kill with that Diva Bomb, and they're just pushing him back and back. The round and the map is going to end with a 3-man shatter from, that is Nova on the Reinhardt. Just fantastic defensive showing from Kaynor. Now we're going to see the play of the game from Aspire on the Ashe. This is, of course, the play we were talking about earlier, where you mentioned you were curious why they didn't go for the nano onto Bob, but looks like they didn't really need it.
No, it didn't. They managed to clear that fight out extremely well. But it's still those little things to consider if it hadn't gone that way.
Epic. You haven't seen anything yet. Epic.
Definitely got to analyze every decision in these team fights, but man, for me the MVP on that map is Andrew on the Diva. I mean, just he was making play after play. Fine. I mean, it seems like every time he threw up a Diva bomb, it found.
Though people are having some slight technical difficulties, and this is Mike. Does seem to have died, so we're going to be cutting to a quick break, real quick, before we get into our next map, which will be Busan.
Hello and welcome back. This is, of course, the finals between Notre Dame Green Knights and the Kaynor Tech Panthers. Sorry about the delay, but we are now ready to head into our second map, which will be the South Korean paradise of Busan. And in the first map, we saw a pretty strong showing from Kaynor Tech, but I think Notre Dame put up a lot of a fight, and I think they will show some potential, maybe even take this map from them. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the last map just goes to show how close both of these teams are in performance. Both of them held that first choke point so well, and it just seemed that the Panthers managed to inch it out little by little before they managed to get the win. So I feel like it could go either way.
Ready for battle.
I was also impressed that Kaynor Tech decided to come out on that defense with the dive composition for the first point. And of course, they were able to hold it out for a pretty long time, even though they did end up switching to goats before Notre Dame capped that point. But definitely showing they've practiced multiple different strategies, and they're very confident with everything that they're running.
Round 1. Capture the objective.
Yeah.
We are going to see this first fight coming up on the top, though, as both teams are going to meet on this high ground here. And, of course, we're going to see goats on both sides, so both teams just trying to find an early advantage. Aspire seems like he's getting singled out, but Nova going to go...
Yeah, going into this fight here, we do see Memory managing to get the charge onto a clip. Of course, the Spire pulling there, but Andrew Dunless managing to get Andrew here is also going to be really, really important, as we see most of the KT Panthers just jumping off of the edge, deciding to regroup and giving this first point, or the first turnover towards the Green Knights.
Yeah, we saw after Nova going down early, it was pretty much a mad dash towards the cliff. It was like watching Lemmings or something, but Notre Dame going to take that first point pretty decisively.
Yeah, no, and again, with Goats versus Goats, we hear the hammer down coming out. It's going to hit everybody, absolutely everybody in the side of the Panthers there, and they're not going to be able to regroup from here as pin and death after death happens there. The ping comes out, Jeff Woods managing just to get in time, and they are going to wait for the rest of the team to regroup. But again, the ult economy right here, if the Green Knights keeps using one ult at a time, or maybe two ults, they're just going to be able to hold this for another 30%, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, they showed just absolute dominance on that second fight, but they weren't prepared. Kaynor Tech going to come through a different way. They're going to be on the point, almost about to cap it, as finally Notre Dame going to go in and contest them here on the point. And the shatter going down from Nova. Lots of people on the ground, but finally the first kill comes.
Yeah, and we hear Andrew here popping that ult. His Diva ults have been so good in positioning right now. Managing to find Monkey the Spire is going to be so important, as not having those bubbles, not having that AoE healing is going to just let the Panthers manage to clear through it.
My ultimate is
And it really
ready.
just, I mean, obviously they were caught off guard by Kaynor Tech going a different way, but it really just looked that they weren't even prepared to deal with that. They weren't sure how they would want to rotate. Of course, now they're going to try and push into him. The shatter coming out from Memory, but Grav right back from me.
And again, this is a complete flip of the first two fights that we saw. Now the Panthers having all of their ultimates, they're going to be able to punish them in the same way that they were punished mere moments ago.
Yeah, pushing all the way to the spawn door, like you mentioned, just trying to get every single percentage point of ults possible out of that one fight. And then they're going to back off and see if they can keep it going. Eclipse, of course, just massive amounts of charge on this Zarya pick. And they see the writing on the wall. They know Notre Dame's coming in a different way, and this fight's going to come in once again on the point, as Notre Dame has the disadvantage.
Yeah, we're going to hear the Graviton coming out from the side of the Green Knights there, as they are going to be able to find a Mr. double. Andrew, again, with another one of these ultimates. If he manages to find anyone, I'd be very surprised with all of the walls being up. Nova popping his Earth Shatter there, looking to deal with Dunless before Dunless can get his self-destruct off. But of course, the caster's vision there, we know that he doesn't have it for another 20%. Memory managing to get his Earth Shatter off, finding Jeff Woods and Arkham Knight, but they're not going to be able to be eliminated there as Memory does fall.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Memory using that shatter, even though it was pretty much just him and Lucio. But I do want to go a bit more in depth on these positional changes. You see these teams trying to go a different way when they know they have an ult disadvantage, because the positional advantage of taking the point can sometimes offset that. Obviously, in this case, it does, because we've seen them flip the point back when they go for these strategies. And here comes a Graviton from Eclipse as both teams try and fight this out.
Yeah, and then we hear another coming out from Andrew. He seems to have these every single fight, but when both teams are just playing a death full composition, ultimates are going to be building so very quickly because the damage is constant. Both Moira ults now being popped, trying to deal with it. Andrew having his ult again.
And he finds three!
Dunless and Aspire, that's going to be absolutely huge. Spaghetti tries to keep it into overtime for the rest of his team to get back, but they must see Memory trying to get onto it there. The stun does come out, and that's going to be the first point of Busan going towards the Panthers.
And I just have, for this point, I have to go back to that decision from Memory to try and use that shatter when he was by himself. I mean, everybody falls prey to panic ultimates once in a while, but it's something to work on, and I think that really did cost them that.
Ready for combat.
Do agree.
Of course, we see them congregating around this this karaoke stage in Spawn. I might be on the wrong side, but we're gonna see coming in. It looks like we're going to see a dive composition coming out from Notre Dame this time.
2, 1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
Yeah, and with those compositions, again, that Pharmacy, they must be thinking, okay, they're going to run goats again. They're going to expect goats on goats. Just lots of death ball action going on. But choosing to go that Pharmacy composition might be exactly what they need. Trying, like we saw in that first match, right? It's so effective against this close range composition of goats that if they could just get enough damage out here, Aspire's going to build ult so quickly, already at 80% before the point even activates.
And we see Mr. McDouble going down early on this brig, and look where Mr. McDouble died. I mean, you can't see it anymore, but it's on these back stairs. Like, I think they've recognized, because I've seen it a few times already, that McDouble is kind of pushing out of position a bit too far, and they were able to capitalize on it there and win that first fight.
Yeah, 100%. And again, look at this positioning right now, right? The Green Knights were waiting so they could collapse on a 3-3, running barrage, trying to deal with Andrew. Andrew manages to jump onto it along with Eclipse, getting rid of Aspire in that barrage, only managing to find Mr. McDouble is going to be a good trade for them, as they're going to continue just trying to rush onto this point and deal with them. We hear the coalescence coming out from both Moiras here. Lots of healing coming out, lots of damage coming out. Of course, those shields are not going to be able to stop either of them.
Get into position.
And also, more important, the point has already been flipped. They flipped it very early on before they started trying to stagger. But unfortunately, they weren't able to get too many kills staggering them out. Only 29% built up for Notre Dame, though. And Kaynor's Tech is almost matched them already before this fight even began.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and again, coming into this fight, we're going to see... Oh, I say coming into this fight. I thought that a fight was about to happen there. But a little bit delayed as Memory tries to just deal with some of Nova's shield. Whittle it down a little bit as we hear the ult coming out from Dunless. It's not going to be able to find anybody due to Arkham Knight popping that sound barrier. But of course, the sound barrier does get burst. The Justice comes out, but we do hit Andrew. They're not going to be able to block it as Andrew managed to find Rifty and Dunless's mech right there. They're going to fall one by one, but Memory, with that Primal Rage, hits them off of the edge, managed to find 2 environmental kills, but it's still... I was going to say it looks like the Panthers managed to come out on top, but I completely misspoken as we still see 4 of the Green Knights standing.
Yeah, but I just have to look at the ults once again, and we see Kaynor Tech already having a chance to re-engage. Nova with a shatter finds 2 knocked down, finds 1 kill. But I think they knew they had the advantage there, and that Notre Dame was really trying to stagger that fight out a bit longer than they maybe should have. And Notre Dame paying for their greed as Kaynor Tech gets a quick retake.
Yeah, a quick retake indeed. 48 to 64%. Again, the difference isn't... There isn't so much of a net total difference that it's like super concerning for the side of the Green Knights, because they definitely can recover from it. But it's definitely not the position that you want to be in. But of course, Aspire sticking to this Farm Mercy along with Monk. And again, Barrage coming out, managing to find Nova. It's just going to flip again, right? Both rallies are going to come out. We're going to see possibly... Yeah, there's another Diva Bomb by Andrew, not being able to find anybody, sending it just a little bit too high. Aspire had already been dealt with prior to that.
Memory, though, getting caught out of position. Of course, that Brig stun so punishing to things like that. The Diva Bomb from Dunless, but unable to find anything. And now Kaynor Tech is at full strength. All 6 players up, and there's a shatter from Nova. He finds 2 to the ground already. And of course, going to Kaynor Tech, as they forced Notre Dame off the point in the end.
Play of the game.
And Memory here, truly deserving that player of the game for this double environmental kill Primal Rage.
Yeah, we see the Diva Bomb coming through, able to find 1 and a mech, as you mentioned, but Memory pushing people off the map. That's play of the game material, right?
Epic.
Hard work is its own
Legendary.
reward.
And now we're going to everybody's favorite game mode, Assault Double CP on Hanamura.
Ooh. Hanamura, now that is a choke point.
Multiple, fact.
Could be interesting, especially since we've already seen some fun strats coming out from Kaynor Tech, seeing if they have anything up their sleeve here for Hanamura, but it looks like there's some microphone issues from the side of Notre Dame, so we might have a little bit of a pause in between these maps.
So yeah, I do believe we're going to hop into a quick break once again whilst we get this sorted out, and we will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are getting into Hanamura now. All of those technical issues with the microphones have been solved, so all of the players can communicate. And going in, I'm getting a feeling we might be seeing double goats again.
Yeah, I mean, especially 2CP in general, but also Hanamura. I mean, we talked about it a bit before we went to the break, but these choke points are just terrifying, and goats, if it's good for anything, it's good at breaking chokes.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, but goats against goats, do you break the choke?
Well, to break or not to break, that's the question.
You know, an immovable force against an unstoppable object.
I know what you mean.
It's,
but I think it's also interesting to wonder, I mean, I think the first two maps were close, despite the score. And I wonder how much of a factor these communication issues played. Maybe Notre Dame will come out and have a bit more synergy with their tank line for this attack.
Yes, definitely a possibility on that one. And it'd be interesting because we're not seeing goats coming out from the side of the Green Knights. Colors have switched, by the way. Blue is, of course, the Connecticut Panthers, and the Green Knights now are red.
Yeah, they're playing Doomfist Dive, but they don't have the Sombra, so we'll see how that works out for them. Memory coming over the top on this Genji right now, as they're going to try and look for their engagement. Doomfist flying in, and it seems like they can't find a target.
It seems like they're not going to be able to find anything there, as that goat's composition does manage to clear them up fairly well. We see Aspire, Rifty, Dunless, Spaghetti, and Monk all falling, Memory being the only one left standing of his fallen clan.
And it looks like they're already swapping now, going to be going with a 3-3 setup. Is this? Well, all they need is a Zenyatta, and it's officially ninjas in pajamas here. But we'll see them coming through. Now it looks more goatsy as that Rifty swaps to the Brig. And this is what we expected coming in. Notre Dame going to try and push through. No ults yet for either side, obviously. So a big charge coming through, and we'll see. Can they find any targets this time?
Yeah, the hammer down coming out there. Being able to find a huge chunk of the Green Knights, but not being able to really commit to it due to just being stopped in general. But they are just going to follow up with it now. It doesn't really seem to matter that they weren't able to commit, really monetize onto that Earth Shadow.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame did their best to try and build up some more ults in that fight, but all they got out of it was Coalescence, which is fairly easy to build, but also doesn't have a very big impact. Meanwhile, 4 ults, soon to be 5 from the Kaynor Tech defense. This could be very difficult to push into once again.
Yeah, as you see the Eclipse popping that Graviton there, followed up by once again Andrew with one of those now. One of those managed to find Aspire, Monk, and Dunless, another 3k. And get 2 minutes left on the clock right now. I mean, I don't know what to say.
The formula's working, man. I mean, what do you
monster.
Just doing work with those Diva Bombs. The grab combo perfectly executed once again. And Notre Dame with some ults to their name, but a big shatter from Nova pretty much nullifies that Graviton coming out from, I believe that was Memory. They're going to come back with a shatter of their own, though, because no kills have come out yet. Already 1, make it 2 for the side of Notre Dame, and Kaynor Tech might get punished for not cleaning up on that shatter.
Yeah, no, they definitely are looking like they might be getting punished here with the 3-tank setup that we see coming out from the Green Knights here. They're just going to be able to just roll in now in the close quarters of the point. They're going to be able to clear it up, and we are going to see Arkham Knight running for his life.
I especially want to point out Spaghetti on this Moira did so much work in that last fight. He used Coalescence to start it, and he already has another one. Notre Dame gonna try and push through as quickly as possible because that's pretty much what Goats does. Kaynor Tech already set up on the high ground. I'm interested to see how they handle this rotation.
Yeah, no, that rotation is something's coming in, but we do see once again the Graviton coming out from Eclipse, followed by Andrew finding Monk and Aspire. There's going to be no Lucian or Lucio healing. It's going to be no Roadhog self-sustain or hooks, and they're just going to clear through them once again. I mean, these games are so back and forth, back and forth. It is like watching a game of ping pong.
But this time, I mean, we've seen it all day from Andrew, but this one was just artistic. He landed it perfectly on top of Dunless the Reinhardt so that his shield could only block for half of his team while they were stuck in the Graviton. Able to pick up 2 kills, as you mentioned, and that was the deciding factor in that fight, as Notre Dame just couldn't pick up any momentum.
Yeah, they definitely couldn't. And on the ult economy right now, once again, it's going to be a Shadow coming into a Graviton Surge, and then one team wiping them and managing to get a good chunk on the point. Oh, except for this time, Arkham Knight was prepared. All of the supports popping their ultimates there. Arkham Knight managed to keep his team up there with the sound barrier. Of course, we see the rally coming out from Mr. McDouble. And I stand corrected. They managed to, from what looks like at the moment, defend it for a little bit. They are getting picked off one by one here. The Coalescence coming out from Spaghetti here, and they're going to be able to find them. But again, Andrew's just going to be on that point, delaying it for so long that the rest of his team's going to be able to get back in time. Or at least Nova is getting cooked immediately, though. Might not be what you want. Arkham Knight, again, trying to peek around as much as he can. But an interesting sound barrier coming out from Monk. We do see Arkham Knight getting picked off, and if they staggered themselves super hard at the end there.
Yeah, and I think really the key there was we saw an awful case of overaltitis on the Kaynor Tech defense. All 3 support alts being used pretty much at the same time. And yes, they were able to survive that Grav Shatter barrage, the Grav Shatter that came down on them. But after that, the whole team of Notre Dame was still there to pick up kills. And Kaynor Tech now has almost nothing to deal with it. And one thing those support alts are great for is stalling out those second points, and they weren't even on the point in that fight when those alts were used. And I think that was really the key, because after those were used, they were just reeling as kill after kill came down from the Notre Dame offense.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Ready for battle.
But we are going to be coming back now and Aspire once again on this May. We saw him pull it out on the attack on Gibraltar. But of course, I mean, anybody who's dealt with a May before knows how just incredibly frustrating it can be, especially on Hanamura. So it could be very tough pickings for Kaynor Tech to push through this.
But again, I do believe this is a best of, I need to check production real quick, but I do believe this is a best of 5, correct?
Yes.
So if the Panthers win this, they win the series.
Right.
Yeah.
So this Notre Dame needs to pull out all the stops here, everything.
Yeah. They really need to not let the Panthers just roll through them, and I don't think they're ever going to let the Panthers roll through them. What is going on here?
Kaynor Tech is just trying to scout out. I think they're sitting in spawn. They were thinking about maybe changing up their composition.
Oh, and they are.
So they had the Sombra go out to like check and see what they were running. It looks like they're gonna do a mace strat of their own. They're gonna do the bridge. They're gonna go right over the point. I haven't seen. They're gonna go right over the choke point.
What an interesting decision there. Managing to use that Sombra to scout out the information and then readjust their strategy for it.
But unfortunately, they're still gonna get caught out. Eclipse and Mr. McDouble getting blocked off by that Maywall, and not only them, but Arkham Knight and Andrew caught over in the corner as well. And I think the mistake they made was they took too long to make that rotation. So they gave Notre Dame too much time to realize, hey, they got a May too, they're coming fast. But they've switched off the May now. They have Eclipse on the Diva, and they're going to try and just push this like a normal goat. So we'll see how that goes for them.
definitely one of those situations. And again, with that May wall coming out, they're trying to separate them, but maybe not the correct call from Aspire there, as you do see the charge coming out onto Memory, bursting his bubble, giving him so much charge. The Earth Shadow does come out. If they manage to kill Memory here, it's going to be absolutely huge because of how charged they are.
Memory doesn't go down. Finds a kill onto Nova, and possibly more coming out from this defense. I mean, both teams using these support ults, trying to keep everybody up. The Graviton coming out, but Dunless still going to find a charge kill, and I think this is just yet another lost fight for Kaynor Tech.
I'm restoring you.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a mess of a fight. I didn't even notice. Look at this. Eclipse is actually in behind them on this Diva at about half HP. Gotta wonder if they even know he's up there.
Oh no, they mustn't. Andrew kind of looking to try and build up his ultimate here. 90% the sound barrier for Arkham Knight is ready. And actually, that single positioning decision from Eclipse to stay back there might have been what they needed to clear this point off, because he managed to push them into his team and just completely collapse on them.
Yeah, and he also distracted Aspire. He kept Aspire from using that Maywall the way he wanted to, and Aspire, I guess it didn't actually charge him, but it looked like he was ready to use his ultimate there in the corner. He did manage to keep it, which is good because it's especially strong on this second point because it's more open. And Notre Dame already set up on the high ground. They've got a few ults to work with, but there's a few ults on the side of Kaynor Tech too, and they are pushing hard.
Yeah, pushing fairly hard as we hear a Graviton being used, but eaten by, I believe that was Eclipse. Yeah, so Eclipse managing to find Graviton Surge coming out from Memory, and then we hear the second Graviton Surge coming out, followed up by Eclipse using that ultimate. Going to be able to find Memory there, which is going to be very, very crucial with those bubbles being gone. They're not going to be able to defend their squishies as much as they'd want to. The rally coming out from Mr. McDouble. It's going to be down to, I believe that is Monk. Yeah, and Monk's not going to be able to hold that in time. Memory's going to try and get onto the point, but does get stunned off of it by Mr. McDouble. Rifty there. Rizfi trying to get onto the point, and there is just so much going on at the moment. Spaghetti ship walking around there, trying to keep himself healed behind the rest of the enemy team so they don't see him. We see the down charge coming out from Memory, trying to get some knockups there. The shield popping out, of course, with 5 stacks, so he's going to be very, very tanky, but he is going to fall as well. And the clock is very close. The Earth Shadow coming down, managing to find a few, the rising uppercut from Aspire, knocking up Nova and Andrew, but not going to be able to find any of the picks or get them off the point for very long. Monk managing to jump on it, Spaghetti's going to try and get to it, but he does get pinned, allowing for the Panthers to get that second check and in fact take the points.
Yeah, in Notre Dame, even though they managed to have a much better stall on the second point compared to Kaynor Tech, they were so slow on the first point that the time make advantage is still in favor of Kaynor Tech after 2 rounds here, and we're headed for, of course, probably 2 more rounds. I mean, Hanamura 2CP in general is usually either 3-2 or 8-7, so we'll see how this goes.
I 100%.
Ready for battle.
Question is, will either team decide to bring out a Mei yet again?
Attackers incoming.
Possibly.
In 30 seconds.
It looks like so far they're deciding against it. I don't think it worked out very well for either squad, to be honest.
And coming in now, we are going to see the start of this match with Aspire on that Doom Fist along with Memory on Genji.
Yeah, they're gonna go with that dive comp that they did on their first attack. It didn't work out very well for them, but they're trying it again. Aspire going down already.
Yeah, no, managed to find Rifty. Oh, Rifty. I'm just gonna call him Riff. Managing to find Riff and Aspire coming off there. And again, they're gonna have to regroup and think out the strategy a little bit more, I think. 2 minutes left on the, or 2 minutes 40 on the clock.
it looks like they still want to push with this team comp. Memory trying to catch Mr. McDouble on that brig off guard, and they're looking for their opening here. Doomfist trying to find a charge, but Nova getting blasted into that Genji right there, but he's caught way out of position. Maybe an opening for Notre Dame now.
There's definitely a possibility of that if a spy manages to find somebody else, but he's not going to be able to, as Mr. McDouble does get that shield bash, managing to deal with it before he gets manages to find anybody with that rocket fist.
Yeah, and I don't understand why Notre Dame has decided to go back to this dive composition. I mean, I feel like at this point you've really just got to switch off it, but less than 2 minutes now, it's tough to make a full comp switch.
Yeah, the hammer down coming out from them. They're managing to find, I believe that was 5 players. Memory and Aspire falling, so there's going to be no DPS for the side of the Green Knights in this current fight.
And we see something we've seen a lot from Kaynor Tech today, winning that fight just off of one ultimate. That huge, I mean, 5-man, as you said, from Nova. But the ult advantage, despite that, is still in favor of Notre Dame here. We just got to see how they engage with these.
Yeah.
You're powered up. Get in there.
We get the Meteor Strike coming out along with that Dragon Blade. It does get nanoed, but immediately eaten by Eclipse there with that Graviton Surge. That was so crucial for stopping Memory there from being able to pop off and being able to get reset after reset with that nano boost.
Yeah, and they actually ended up using pretty much every ultimate they had except for Sound Barrier. And I think Kaynor Tech realized that, and that's why they said, you know what, go ahead and Nano Blade, why not, meet Graviton. And they just, a great shutdown play by Eclipse, and of course, ult advantage back in favor of Kaynor Tech, and only 30 seconds left now. Very tough for Notre Dame now.
Yeah, no, extreme difficult for Notre Dame. As we hear all of the ults being popped out at the moment, Andrew managed to find Rifzy and Monk there, both of the supports for the Green Knights do fall, followed up by Memory, and that's going to get immediately followed up by Dunless and Spaghetti. So, again, 15 seconds left on the clock, unless Aspire ninjas his way onto that to get it into overtime. I think we're going to be seeing a very strong hold from the Panthers.
Yeah, Aspire trying to ninja his way to the point. Andrew, the only one to really notice him. He's almost going to make it, but he's going to get popped out of his mech just 2 feet away. He does manage to make it onto the point, but will overtime tick down before his teammates can get...
Yes, it will. So this is it. This is the most tense this is the tensest moment for the Green Knights, right? If the Panthers get 1 tick, they win.
After all of that, I mean, that was a rough attack run there for Notre Dame. I mean, they just kept running into a brick wall of this Kaynor Tech defense. And now, 3 minutes and 40 seconds, they have to find some way to just keep them off the point and play for that tie so they can keep their hopes alive.
Yeah.
And, I mean... Am I seeing this right here? Are you seeing this too? Are they coming out of spawn with this?
I'm seeing it. I don't know if they're coming out. Wait, are they coming out of spawn with
this?
this?
They're coming out of spawn with this.
They are coming out of spawn with this. I was looking at Panthers, but
Notre Dame. I mean, we saw them come out with the Maze strat on their first defense run, and this time it looks like truly backs against the wall. But looks like they're arguing a little bit about where they want to be positioned.
Up or down or left or right, they decide on upper.
Personally, when it comes to, I mean, I don't like this in general, but personally, when you're trying to do this type of Bastion defense, you want to defend back left, like see where this Ana is, like outside the point to the left is a really good spot. And look, Andrew on this Sombra just, he sees this, he sees everything. And now they know what they're up against. They're going to come out of spawn with all this information, and they have a plan already.
Yeah, Goat should just tear through this. It completely depends on how they want to take this, but if I was them, yeah, I'd go into the house up and then go the long... Oh, okay, they're not going to go up. They are just going to go... I mean, it has the same effect, right? But they're just going to avoid as much fire as they can.
And once again, I don't like this positioning because look, this bell just gives them all kinds of free cover. I mean, they're going to walk into him anyway, which I guess they just make the cardinal mistake that I expected them not to make. Nova going down, Andrew so low on this D.Va, and Aspire still alive on this Bastion. Nobody else from Notre Dame is getting taken down, and there goes the tank.
Wow, okay, well, apparently we stand corrected as that does work out for them. Again, I agree with you, an interesting decision to decide to push instead of just sitting on the point. Like behind the bell and just using it as cover and playing chicken, but I guess their thought process was if we can kill Aspire on that Bastion, we win. Unfortunately, we did see Nova charge in and immediately get hooked by Dunless.
That's often a common mindset of teams playing against Bastion comps, and I noticed it too. I actually was on Aspire's point of view, and they were really just throwing everything they could at him when really they needed to try and take down that Ana, because Memory was the real reason Aspire was still alive. Monk going down, Memory going down. You see the supports going down first, and now, yeah, this is GG. There's no way.
GG. Yeah, there is nothing that they can do, and that is going to be congratulations to the Kaynor Tech Panthers for taking the Overwatch champion. Just taking the season, right? They've taken the title. Congratulations to everybody on that. MVP of that game, I don't know about you, but I wholeheartedly believe it goes to Andrew.
Exclamation point T-Mobile MVP XQC all the way. But in all seriousness,
look at that.
In all seriousness, I don't know how you could vote for anyone other than Andrew on the D.Va. I mean, he was everywhere doing more than you would need from a D.Va player. It was really fun to watch, honestly.
It was, so good. So good. And do you have anything to say whilst we're gonna start closing off here about those games?
I'm not sure if I have anything else to add, but I would like to say thank you to everybody for tuning into the finals of EGFH. Of course, we had Kaynor Tech taking the victory championship. The season is theirs. The trophy, is there a trophy?
Medals.
Oh, they have medals. Okay, they're gonna get their victory medals. And of course, I want to let everybody know you can follow us at official EGF on Twitter and Twitch for updates and announcements. This season wouldn't be possible without the support from our sponsors, the Yukon Gaming Club, the Yukon School of Engineering, the New York Excelsior, and Mob Crush. Of course, I'm Cool J, and you can find me on Twitter at CoolJ_OW.
And I've been Kevin Navik Dignan. You can find me on Twitter at NavikCasts, and thank you for joining us. You can tune in. Be sure to tune in next week for the finals in our Alaskan region.